Kainé, I was reminded about something from my past. Maybe my mind has been confusing her with my sister this whole time. Anyway...
Is this correct? Is this where I'm supposed to be? Kainé's dreams. Discrimination. Oh, I see. The sound of rain filled the village. The steep cliffs that surrounded the area magnified. Yeah, okay. Okay, let's try that again. Right, we are prepared. The sound of rain filled the village. The steep cliffs that surrounded the area magnified sound, causing even the slightest drizzle to rattle like a thunderstorm. It's Coke Zero, the new one, and hot chocolate. Thin wisps of smoke streamed from the huts as villagers huddled in their homes, and waited out the rain. A single child, however, had braved the downpour and was now wandering slowly towards the wooden, hawk-shaped weather vane at the centre of town. The wanderer reached the vane, which had existed for as long as anyone could remember, and stared. The child's face was simultaneously delicate and fierce, like a teacup that had survived a shipwreck, those traits combined with pale white skin to give the face an almost sexless quality. If the beak turns east, I go home. If it stays west, then I... The child blinked. Rain slowly dripped down the young one's short hair and began its long descent to the ground. Come on. Come on. The child felt a slight breeze and watched as the vane slowly creaked to life. Spinning this way and that for a moment, it finally settled with the beak pointing firmly towards the east. East? Really? Before the vane could move again, a jagged rock came spinning and tumbling through the air, striking home against the child's head. The force of the blow dropped the child to the ground as a hail of stones began to fall all around. Oh no, they found me! A heartbreaking smile crept across the child's face as the stones continued their assault. Through the rain, the sound of multiple footsteps grew louder before our voice rang out. Yoo-hoo, Kainé! The voice belonged to Demo, worst of all the bullies in the area. As Kainé struggled to stand, a final stone came skittering through the mud and bounced against her foot. Blood oozed from a cut above her eye and blurred her vision, but she could not make out the shapes of Demo and his usual gang of idiots. The boy seemed taken aback for a moment by the Kainé's seeming indifference to the blood dripping from her face, but quickly regained his bravado. What's up, you freak? You like the rain? You like getting all wet? Or did you finally decide to run away from home? Though she knew it was futile, Kainé turned to leave. Before she could get more than a few steps, the other children scrambled to surround her, cruelty burning in their eyes. Kainé knew those were not the only eyes on her. The tormentor's parents watched from the safety of their homes. She was attuned to this sensation. It was one she had experienced many times before. While some villagers simply turned a blind eye to the actions of their children, many encouraged it openly. In a society ruled by superstition and fear, Kainé was something to be hated and, if possible, destroyed. I didn't say you could leave, freak. Demo's words chewed at her like a worm through an apple. He can't hurt me, she lied to herself. Be strong, be brave. He can't hurt me. He can't hurt me. He can't hurt... Oh look, the little freak is gonna cry. What's wrong? Are you sad everyone hates you and wants you dead? Kainé prayed for the rain to flood down and carry her away from a world that seemed to have no place for her. But if there were gods, they chose to ignore her. As Demo crept ever closer, the clouds began to thin and the rain slowed. Even the weather hates me. I'm useless. A failure. I wish Demo's rock had taken my head off. Kainé couldn't meet Demo's leering gaze. She lowered her eyes and stared at the muddy ground below. The bully moved forwards until he was inches away. She could smell the scent of old meat on his breath. The boy grabbed Kainé's face with thick fingers and yanked it upwards. She tried to run away, but as he forced her gaze back and jammed his thumb against her eyelid to pry it open. "Show me." "No." "Did you say no?" Demo grinned evilly. "Don't say no to me. No one says no to me." Not even taking his attention from Kainé, he called to his cohorts. "Come on, guys, let's give the freak what she deserves." As soon as Demo finished, kicks and blows began to rain down upon Kainé. Demo paused, still grinning, as Kainé curled into a ball and tried to make the pain stop. "I don't get you, freak. What you acting like a girl for, her? Everyone knows what you really are." Kainé ignored the question, choosing instead to stare at the weather vane. It continued to point east, as if supremely confident about the future it had chosen for her. Go home? Yeah, it's a funny joke. Someone with dead parents and no home to go to. "Freak!" chanted the children. "Freak! Freak! Freak!" Kainé closed her eyes and listened to the rain, waiting for the pain to start again. As the clutching hands of the village children closed around her, she bent her mind to the sound of the rain, letting it become her world entire. The rain fell, but the pain never came. Only when the laughter of her tormentors turned to terrified cries did she dare open a single blood-caked eye. Kainé was shocked to see Demo sprawled on the ground, holding his head and screaming in pain. She could see blood welling from the spaces between his fat, twisted fingers. Oh my god, he's crying. He's actually crying. Deprived of their leader, the other children glanced back and forth between themselves, as if waiting for someone to step forwards and take charge. When no savior emerged, they began an uneasy shuffle away from Kainé. But the young girl was the least of their concerns. Instead, their attention was rapt on the ancient woman standing a few feet away. After struggling for breath for a moment, she finally spoke in a voice thick with rage. "That's like a bitch, don't it? Now I suggest you scatter before I throw another one. And if any of you little bastards touch my Kainé again, I'll do far worse than throw a rock. You can count on it." The old woman, who didn't particularly have an old woman voice when John voiced her, crouched down and gently touched the hand Demo was using to cover the wound. Before he could think to protest, she ground her palm into the wound and twisted back and forth. "Ah!" he screamed, leaping to his feet. "Stop it! What are you doing? Quit whining! Ain't no one ever died from a scratch. You hit me with a rock, you stupid bitch! A big one! That thing could have killed me!" The old woman shrugged. "Death is but a cure for the stupid." Ooh, oh, raid time! I'm reading. Hello, raiders. Hello, Grape Smuggler. Thank you for the raid. I'm reading the words of Nier Replicant version 1.22474487139 because I'm at the start of Route B. Hello. You're welcome to join. I suspect I have like another 15 minutes worth of just reading, but you're welcome to stay. Hello, Minicoop. Oh, your Minicoop's been here all this time. Hello, anyone that's here. Demo's face twisted with rage at her words. Locking his eyes on Kainé, he took a step backwards and spat on the ground. "Get out! Leave this village! No one wants you here, either of you!" Seeing the old woman grab another stone, Demo and his companions turned tail and ran. As they fled, the old woman grabbed her side and barked out a single laugh. "Ha! Look at the fat boy go! Guess he's healthy enough to run from a fight." The woman's smile faded as she turned her attention to Kainé. Kneeling down, she removed her shawl shawl, yes, and placed it around the young girl's shoulders, and produced a cloth from the folds of her dress, and began blotting at the blood on her forehead. "Oh, Kainé," she said, "why didn't you fight back? You're stronger than that lot." The words of her grandmother stung Kainé, and she turned away. "Don't be nice to me," she said. "I don't deserve it. Nothing matters any more." The tears, held in check for so long, finally began to fall on the muddy ground below. "Everyone hates me. They think I cause bad things to happen. They think I'm a freak. I wish I was dead." As Kainé's tears turned to sobs, she felt her grandmother's hands on her shoulders. Despite her advanced age and diminutive size, she was a woman of surprising strength, and Kainé found herself unable to turn away. "Don't talk like that, girl. It's a river wide and deep that flows between the realms of this world and the next, and it grants no mercy to any that attempt the crossing. You've got a duty to fight until your last breath. Understand?" The old woman tightened her grip and tried to still the tremor in her voice. "You know the pain of losing someone close to you, Kainé. You know because you survived it." As the words hit home, Kainé was struck by a force of her love for the old woman. As a young child, she didn't even know of her grandmother, and when her parents died, the woman quickly accepted her as her own. Grandma, as Kainé called her, was cunning, vulgar, and quick to violence, and the first few years together had not been easy. But with each year that passed, Kainé and her grandmother had grown closer. However, it was only now, sitting in the mud, with tears and blood caking her face, that Kainé truly understood the depths of her affection. Here was a woman who had seen hard times, who had seen death, who had fought through all these things and somehow emerged on the other side. If anyone could understand Kainé's pain and loneliness, it was her. "Do I make you sick, Grandma?" "Course not. Don't be an ass." Kainé drew her grandmother's moth-eaten shawl around her body and shuddered. "But my body, it's not normal. If I was normal, then Mum and Dad wouldn't..." "Hush!" interrupted Grandma. "I'll not hear another word of this nonsense. You're my granddaughter and I love you, and if folks have a problem with that, they can just go to hell." With that, the old woman reached out and placed a wreath of dried flowers in Kainé's hair. The skill it took to bend the flowers without breaking the stems or losing a single petal was remarkable, and the beauty of it made Kainé want to cry all over again. "Oh my gosh, these are lunatears. Grandma, you made this for me." Lunatears were legendary flowers. Most people could live their entire lives without ever seeing one, and yet her grandmother had somehow collected a dozen or more. Kainé reached up and touched the wreath, as she couldn't believe it was real. "Where did you find these?" "Just stumbled upon them while I was out doing the shopping." The old woman turned away as she spoke, leading Kainé to suspect that the search had been more difficult than she'd been letting on. The pains she took to construct the ornament, let alone track down the flowers used in its construction, made Kainé's heart hurt. She reached up and gently adjusted the wreath, admiring the way it felt between her fingers. "Didn't quite turn out right," said her grandmother as she squinted at it. "These old hands have trouble with delicate work, but it sure looks good on a pretty girl like you." Kainé blushed and turned away. You think I'm pretty?" "Course you are. What a fool thing to say." "Thank you, Grandma." Her grandmother smiled. "We're gonna be fine, you and me," she said. "Long as we've got each other, we'll be just fine." Kainé took her grandmother's hand in hers, and the two of them struggled to their feet. As they began the long walk home, Kainé gripped the hand with all her might, as if trying to stop smoke from drifting away on the wind. The rain had stopped. Kainé stood beneath the weather vane, watching it spin in lazy circles, no longer caring about the direction it faced, and when it stopped. I don't need to escape. I have a home now. Grandma loves me, and that's enough. Even if it's us against the world. Kainé let her gaze drift up past the vein and into the cloudy sky. The last faint hints of a rainbow were slowly fading. As she turned and headed for home, the light scattered into a million particles and vanished, seemingly taken away on the breeze. Kainé's dreams. Daily life. In the distance... No, hang on. Take a sip. Hello, Heisenthal. There were a lot of people here to hear me read. I better do it well. La 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 la. Okay, let us continue. In the distance, Kainé heard the steady sounds of an axe striking wood. The noise had a purposeful quality to it, as if she was hearing a master woodsman go about his work. Thank you, Ichi. The firewood being produced, however, was as far from a work of art as could be. Pieces of every shape and size were being flung about a barren yard with wild abandon. Anyone trying to stack such wood would probably die in frustration before the job was through. Stupid piece of shit axe! Kainé's mother flailed away with the axe, filling the air with both splinters of wood and words that would make most hardened sailor blush. Grandma, called Kainé. That you, Kainé? Yelled the old woman, taking her eyes off the wood for a moment. Don't get too close or I might take your goddamn foot off by mistake. She brought the axe down on a piece of wood, sending chips flying in every direction. One spun past Kainé close enough for her to hear the whistle, at which point she decided to step back. Once she'd scuttled to a safe distance, she cupped her hands around her mouth and shouted, Grandma! Do you need help? I can get you water or lunch or a new axe or something. Ooh. So I'm just reading the chat. The axe, poised to strike another wobbly blow, paused in mid-air. The old woman considered her granddaughter's offer for a moment, then smiled. Tell you what, since I'm doing such a piss-poor job of chopping, why don't you come here and take over so I can go get the water? Shades have been restless lately, and I don't want you running into one of them bastards. Relinquishing the axe, her grandmother picked up a long pole with wooden buckets on either end. Gathering water was by far the most difficult of the two jobs, but Kainé knew better than to complain. Once Grandma's mind was set, there was no changing it. Kainé did her best to help with chores, but Grandma took every task that required travel to the village. Though she had a long list of plausible excuses, Kainé knew the real reason. She didn't want her granddaughter to be taunted and harassed by the villagers. Once Kainé moved in, I'm going to actually just briefly take that off because it's hurting my ears. Once Kainé moved in, Grandma decided to take up residence a good distance from the area. Out of sight, out of mind seemed to be the best policy when it came to the villagers and her granddaughter, and rare were the days when any but the two of them could be found on the rocky acre of land they called home. Kainé enjoyed the solitude, but harboured a secret resentment that her grandmother was forced to spend her golden years in such a place. After watching her grandmother leave, Kainé turned her attention to the task at hand. She had never chopped wood before in her life, and soon discovered why the old woman hated the chore. Swing after swing of the axe produced only a tiny crack in the wood, and when she finally managed to connect with a solid stroke, the tool embedded itself in the log and refused to budge. Frustrated, Kainé swung the axe around her head and threw it, log and all, across the yard. Damn it, crap! She suddenly understood the joy her grandmother felt in a good curse. Happier now, she picked up the axe and forced it from the wood and resumed chopping. She had a natural skill with a blade, but the task was challenging, and blisters soon began to form on her small pink hands. This is tough, and my logs are all weird sizes. Spitting on her palms and ignoring the pain, Kainé redoubled her efforts. Just as she was developing a rhythm, Grandma returned from the village. Settling down her buckets with a small sigh, she took one look at the logs and coughed out a wheezy laugh. "Pretty clumsy, girl. You better practice if you..." Her grandmother suddenly collapsed to her knees, causing one of the buckets to wobble precariously. Eyes wide, Kainé dropped the axe and ran to her grandmother's side. "Grandma!" The old woman shook her head and pointed a trembling finger at the bucket. "Get the bucket. Can't let it spill." Kainé studied the bucket with a foot as she knelt by her grandmother. A small bit of water sloshed over the side and made a new home in the hem of her dress. Kainé didn't notice. Grandma, what's happening?" Crazed with panic, she grabbed her grandmother by the shoulders and shook. After a moment, the woman lifted her arms and batted Kainé away. "Stop that! Just stop!" she cried, breathing heavily. "It ain't like I'm dying. Just tired from the trip, that's all." Kainé desperately wanted to believe her, but one look at the old woman's shaking hands and worn face told her more than words ever could. Her grandmother had lived a long, hard life, and it seemed the bill was finally coming due. The time when her grandmother watched over Kainé was ending. Sooner rather than... Sorry, I said that really weirdly then. Sooner... I'm going to take a sip. Sooner than either... Yeah. I'll start the sentence from the start. The time when her grandmother watched over Kainé was ending. Sooner than either of them had feared, the positions would be reversed. The next morning, Kainé came to the side of her grandmother's bed and took her wrinkled hand. "Grandma, you're sick and you need medicine. I'm going to the village." The old woman shook her head and tried to rise, but Kainé gently pushed her down. "It's all right," he said. "I'll be fine." Her grandmother fixed her with a gaze that could melt steel. After what seemed like an eternity, she finally lowered her eyes and sighed. "Well, I don't like it, goddammit. But I guess I should quit being so stubborn and let you grow up." The old woman watched as Kainé strapped on her boots and made her way down to the road to the village. I added a 2 there where it didn't belong. Hours later, as an unseen sun made its way across a dark and rainy sky, she was still watching. Kainé moved at a brisk pace, checking her pockets every few minutes to make sure the money... Okay, I'm starting to struggle now, aren't I? It's a lot of reading, by the way. Kainé moved at a brisk pace, checking her pockets every few minutes to make sure the money her grandmother gave her was still there. Every noise caused her to spin on her heels, making sure she wasn't being stalked by a shade, or worse, Demo and his gang. But she encountered neither tormentors nor shades, and Kainé finally found herself at the entrance to the village. The few adults she could see glanced sideways at her, then muttered to each other behind raised hands before slinking away into the shadows. Her heart racing, Kainé took a series of rapid, shallow breaths, and tried to calm herself. "I have to prove myself. I have to help Grandma. I have to be strong." She chanted those words to herself over and over as she slowly made her way. Finally, her eyes settled on a rotund, older woman who was angrily waving her arms in the air and telling anyone who would listen exactly what she thought of Kainé's presence. "Hey lady," said Kainé, with a bravado she did not feel. "Where's the apothecary?" The woman's flabby cheeks shook in bewildered anger. "How dare this thing speak to me?" the way they seemed to say. But Kainé saw that her eyes held a different emotion. Yeah, we're both scared, lady. Trust me on this one." "Which way?" Kainé repeated. The woman pointed at a small building to her right before hitching up her dress and stumbling off in the other direction. Kainé cringed, expecting a stone to come flying across the assembled crowd. None came. Her mind was filled with a strange sense of pride as she made her way to the apothecary. The new emotion had little time to take root, for as soon as she opened the door, she noticed a familiar customer at the counter. It was Demo. He clearly had been sent here on some kind of family errand, because his gang of followers was nowhere to be found. "Oh my god," he sputtered. What are you doing here, freak?" The insult was delivered without force. Oh, I should have read that bit first. Also, thank you, Grape Smuggler. I do like reading out loud. I don't actually get quite a lot. I've forgotten how to talk like a normal person. I don't get a lot of chances to narrate things because obviously you tend to you need people nearby to narrate to. Otherwise, you're just sort of weirdly talking to yourself. Oh my god, he sputtered. Where are you going, freak? The insult was delivered without force this time, and Kainé happily ignored it, stretching on tiptoes to see over the counter. He asked the shopkeeper the medication. "Ah!" barked Demo. "That old bitch finally keel over?" "Go to hell, Demo." The boy's eyes grew wide as he seemed ready to fall out of his head, but before he could let fly a comeback, or worse, a punch, the apothecary told them to knock it off before he kicked them out of the store. Demo slunk out of the shop, cursing Kainé under his breath. Once he was gone, she allowed herself to breathe once more, taking a brief tour of the shop while the owner prepared her medication. Countless little bottles filled the cramped store, each with a label written in some indecipherable language. An ocean of aromas assaulted her nose, creating a scent that was exotic, but not altogether unpleasant. Seeing such a variety of supplies gave Kainé a sense of peace. Surely, in a world so vast, there would be a place that she could call home. On the far wall, behind the counter, rested a portrait of a stunning young girl. The picture had once contained bright, vibrant colours, but time had worked its cruel magic, and they were beginning to fade. The beauty of the work, however, remained undiminished. "You like that picture?" Kainé turned to find the apothecary, a small vial of medicine in his hand. His eyes were gentle but sad. He seemed to stare through her and into nothing as she spoke. "That's my daughter. I sketched it when she was just a little girl. She's been dead a long time now." Kainé didn't know how to respond. She just stared at the portrait and tried to come up with the right words. "Pictures are wonderful things," continued the shopkeeper. "They let the ones closest to you live on forever." He shook his head slightly and looked down at Kainé and smiled. Handing her the medication, he reached into a sizable green apron and produced a handful of old wax crayons. "You should have these. There's no one left that I wish to draw." Kainé took an instinctive step back, causing the shopkeeper's face to darken. "Yes, I heard the rumours about you," he said. "It's a small village and words travel quickly. Between you and me, I'm not sure which of them to believe. But also, I don't think they matter much. I know your grandmother, Kali, and I think the way she was driven out of the village was just deplorable." "Grandma's name is Kali," thought Kine suddenly. She was still mulling this new fact over in her mind as she reached out and gently took the crayons from the apothecary's hands. "Your grandmother was an old friend of mine," he said as Kainé scooted away again, "and I owe her much. I wager she would like it if you drew a picture of her." Yes, I think she would like that very much." Kainé murmured a quiet agreement, but inside her heart was bursting. Never before had a villager treated her with anything but complete contempt. It was a tiny, almost imperceptible step, but it was a step nonetheless. And with enough tiny steps, she might one day discover the rest of the world. When Kainé returned home, she found her grandmother asleep in her bed. Her feet were blackened and raw, even bleeding a bit in places, leading Kainé to think that she'd been pacing around the room until exhaustion finally caught up with her. She placed the medicine by her grandmother's pillow and turned to leave, but found the old woman's hand clasped around her arm. "Back already, are you?" asked her grandmother with a yawn. "Come here, let me have a look at you." Grandma sat up and examined Kainé from head to toe. Finally satisfied that nothing terrible had befallen her grandchild, she leaned back and allowed herself to relax. "Well, how was it? Those bastards give you any trouble?" "It was kind of fun," said Kainé with a small smile. "No, seriously, it was." "Fun, eh?" asked her grandmother in a voice which implied she believed anything but. "Uh-huh." Hang on. "Uh-huh. So anytime you..." No, I was trying to figure out which character's speaking. "Uh-huh. So anytime you need me to run an errand, just let me know." As she spoke, Kainé removed the crayons from her pocket. After a brief explanation of their source, she informed her grandmother that she was going to sketch her portrait. "Portrait of me? Ridiculous. No one wants to stare at a wrinkled old crone." "But Grandma, it'll make you live forever." "Horse shit," said her grandmother, throwing back the sheet from her bed. "Living forever would just piss me off. Now put those crayons away and help with dinner." Kainé would not relent, and in the end, Grandma found herself leaning against the wall of their house as if posing for a master artist. Kainé took up the crayons, eyed her subject carefully, and set to work. Just as her grandmother was about to nod off, Kainé finished the piece. After staring at it for a bit, she released it from her grip and let it slowly drift to the floor. "It's terrible. It doesn't look like you at all. I'm sorry, Grandma. I thought these crayons would, make drawing easy or something." The old woman's eyes narrowed at her granddaughter's disappointment. "Let me be the judge of that," she said, ignoring the pain in her back and reaching for the paper. The sketch could have been a person's face, or could have been a boulder, a lump of clay, or an incredibly misshapen loaf of bread, all rendered in a chaotic array of colours. Bit judgy, narrator. Bit judgy, alright? The old woman stared at the picture for a long time and slowly wheezed out a laugh. "Oh, Kainé," she said with laughter, "you truly are my blood. You're as clumsy as me, and I love it." "But..." "Hush! I won't hear any more bull about how ugly you think it is. It came from the heart, and I'll treasure it always." True to her words, the old woman gave the picture a place of honour above the kitchen table. In the days that followed, Kainé would often catch her staring at the portrait with a strange smile on her face, an action she interpreted as silent, mocking laughter. A week later, Kainé could stand it no more and asked her grandmother to take the artwork down. "Posh," said the old woman. "I'll take this down when they roll me into my shroud." She pondered this for a bit, turned kind, and then she pondered it. There, a sip of drink, I think. The top half of this hot chocolate was better than the bottom half. I just stirred it better. "Posh, pish posh," says the old woman. "I'll take this down when they roll me in my shroud." She pondered this for a bit, then turned to Kainé and dropped to one knee. "Listen to me, girl. Seeing this picture makes me happy in a way I've never felt before. And it makes me want to go on, so that someday you can feel the same happiness." It was a moment that burned itself into Kainé's memory. A perfect blend of pride and love and joy that came together to form a lifelong remembrance. She swore never to forget this moment, to never forget the old woman who had made her place in the world possible. Time moves on. People and memories move in and out of a life like ghosts passing in a hall. This moment will be different, Kainé swore, because I will remember it forever. Forever. Right, I'm taking a sip of It may have been half an hour for the explodey. But it might be a little bit longer when I read it. Kainé listened to the sound of crackling firewood and stared at the black object on her plate. She'd been pushing it around the wooden disc for a good 10 minutes, ignoring the bemused stare of her grandmother. Finally, she summoned her courage and gave the object a brief sniff. A sharp, bitter scent flew up her nostrils and made its home there, causing her face to twist with disgust. "Grandma, I can't believe you want me to eat a bug." The old woman threw some more wood under the cooking pot and snorted. "It's no bug, you fool girl. It's a berry." "Why the hell would I be feeding you bugs?" "Yeah, well, it sure looks like a bug," said Kainé, "and I think it's burnt or something because it smells terrible." With that, Kainé held her nose and threw the berry in her mouth, chewing as little as possible. "Oh yeah, that's terrible, all right." "Why, you little brat," laughed the old woman. "Look at the sass on you. You've been spending too much time with me, and that's a fact." 5 years had passed since the moment when Kainé's grandmother saved her from the bullies. As is often the way with two stubborn people, their relationship had grown in fits and starts, but moved forwards all the same. Meals that used to be somber affairs were now filled with laughter and hurled abuse in equal measure. "Farewell, Uchi. I will continue talking. Where was I? It's quite a lot of reading. Where was I? Meals that had used to be somber affairs were now filled with laughter and hurled abuse in equal measure. Kainé could not remember a time when she had been happier. As the years went by, Kainé started to shoulder more and more of the daily responsibilities. Her grandmother's legs grew weaker by the day, and she could no longer do many of the chores she used to take for granted. And so this morning found Kainé lacing up her work boots, with a breakfast of burned berry rolling through her belly. "Where are you going today?" asked Grandma, suddenly. Kainé looked up, surprised. The old woman rarely asked for specifics anymore. "Well, I was going to check out the calma trees and see if they were ripe. I thought we could make some jam or something. Oh, and I'm going to pick up some flagstones, so I need to take the wheelbarrow." "Flagstones? What in the hell for?" Kainé stared at her grandmother, then held out an arm and swept it round her home. Constructed mostly of cloth, rope and rubble, the old place sagged like a boxer in the final round. "Grandma, a dying cat could chew through this house. I'm going to build a stone wall so we have some protection." The old woman laughed, exposing her toothless grin to the world. "God damn, girl, if a bunch of thieves want to ransack this old place, let them come. We've got nothing worth stealing anyway." "I'm not worried about thieves. I'm worried about shades. People saw one west of the village yesterday." The old woman tilted her head and stared at her granddaughter. "Well, shoot, I don't know why you'd have to do it today. We can..." I said that in a weird way. "I don't know why you have to do it today. We can worry about it some other." "Grandma, no. If I don't go to the calma trees, we won't eat tonight. You know that." Confused expression passed across the old woman's face. For a moment, she was a small child, lost at a carnival. "Yes," she said after a bit. "Yes, of course, you're right. I'm sorry, Kainé. Lately it seems my mind is..." She didn't finish the thought, instead walking over to a nightstand and gently taking the wreath of lunar tears from the drawer. Flowers petals had aged to a brilliant whiteness, and Kainé thought it was more beautiful now than the day she first received it. You're gonna be a true woman soon," Grandma said, as she placed the flowers in the girl's hair. "So that means less chatter about shades, building defensive walls, and more talk about how beautiful you've become." Annoyed, Kainé reached up to remove the garland, but the look on her grandmother's face stopped her hand. "You're a beautiful thing," said the old woman, "and there ain't There ain't another like you in all the world. I'm very proud of you. Okay, Grandma. That's enough goddamn compliments for the one day. Such a mouth on you. Where did that come from? Gee, I wonder. I'll teach you to sass me, girl, yelled Grandma. Suddenly, she lurched forwards and grabbed Kainé by the ears, pulling her around the room with a crazed grin on her face. Grandma, yelled Kainé in a quaking voice. Grandma, stop it, what the hell? The old woman stared at her and blinked, then slowly held her wrinkled hand out as if it was the first time she'd ever seen them. I don't know what happened there. I'm sorry, girl. Sometimes my mind just... Kainé thought the look on her grandmother's face was the most heartbreaking thing she'd ever seen. Listen, she began. Maybe I should stay home after all. No, I won't have you stay here to keep an eye on an old codger like me. You gotta get your fruit and your wall and whatnot. I'll be fine. And when you come back, I'll have a nice grasshopper dinner waiting for you. Kainé rolled her eyes, then kissed her grandmother on the forehead and made ready to depart, trying desperately to ignore the worry that was gnawing at the walls of her heart. Kainé could feel the old woman's eyes watching her as she moved down the path. Don't turn around, don't turn around, she told herself, but in the end the temptation was too great. She spun on her heel for one final look, saw a small, bent woman standing in front of a ramshackle hut with a sad expression on her face. Gods, she looks so old now. It's like the wind could reach down and just carry her away. Kainé worried about her grandmother all day, causing her work to suffer. What little fruit she could collect was tossed carelessly into the wheelbarrow. She only found a couple of stones before losing interest in the project. Finally, as the dusk approached, she decided to call it a day. Cursing herself for the lack of focus, Kainé pushed the nearly empty wheelbarrow back down the path. As she crested the final hill, she suddenly froze in place. The wheelbarrow fell from her fingers and collapsed on its side, sending a few pieces of wrinkled brown fruit rolling back down the hill. Her gaze was transfixed by a thick, black cloud that hovered just ahead, tracing its path with a finger. Kainé suddenly felt her stomach knot in on itself. No! Oh gods, no! Her grandmother's house was ablaze, the flames licking up as if trying to touch the sky itself. Grandma? Grandma? Kainé ran then, faster than she'd ever moved in her life. Once she tripped on a stone and went sprawling into the rocky ground, but she leapt to her feet and continued running, unmindful of the blood that spilled from her wounded hands and knees. As she got closer and closer, Kainé's mind began to race in time with her footfalls. It's too dark. It's too dark. It's just fire. It can't be fire. Too much smoke. Gotta save her. Gotta save her. She burst into the front yard and came to a sudden halt. Her worst suspicions confirmed. The smoke from the fire was mingling with the thick, inky blackness of an enormous shade. This massive creature supported itself on 3 twisted feet and achieved balance through means of a large armored tail. Scales, horns and claws sprouted from its body in a random chaotic pattern, giving it the appearance of a lizard designed by some insane god. Seeing Kainé, it let out a roar and flicked its tail, John, sending small whirlwinds spinning around the yard. For a moment, the creature retreated into a shimmering, inky blackness, as if her mind was unable to comprehend that such a thing could actually exist. But then the smell hit her, a blend of rotted meat and excrement, and the horror became real once more. The creature bellowed again, and this time Kainé responded with a scream of her own. You bastard! she thought as a scream echoed off the high cliffs around them. It's you or me. Let's go. The shade-eyed Kainé with bemused interest. Then it began looking from her to the house and began again, as if urging her to look at the destruction it had so gleefully wrought. With dread building in her heart, Kainé glanced towards the house. Through the smoke and the flames she spotted a small figure struggling to escape the ruins. Grandma! At the sound of her voice, the old woman began waving frantically. She's alive! Thought Kainé. Alive? No, alive! Kainé's legs sprang to life as she raced across the yard towards the flaming wreckage of the house. Before she could advance more than a few steps, the shade opened its mouth and let out a roar powerful enough to uproot trees and send them flying. The blast sent Kainé tumbling through the air before smashing her against the rocky earth. Stars danced in front of her eyes as she tried to remember how her legs worked. Get up! Get up! Get up! Get up! Get up! Get up now! As Kainé struggled to her feet, the shade stomped towards the house and pinned her grandmother to the ground with the tip of a claw. The old woman struggled to move the claw from her stomach, but she might as well have been pushing a mountain. She coughed briefly, sending a small spray of blood into the air, then collapsed to the ground, her energy spent. Kainé lurched to her feet, only to fall back to the earth with a gasp. Her ankles were on fire. One or both of them was surely broken. Ignoring the pain that screamed through her body, she began dragging herself across the ground, leaving a drunken trail of dust and blood in her wake. Grandma! Hold on! Just a little longer! Her grandmother's face was turning blue, her eyes rolling back until only the whites were exposed. Kainé pulled herself across the ground with a maddening slowness, the distance seeming to increase with every second that passed. The shade glanced between the two women and flicked out its tongue, its giant mouth turning up at the corners. Short, panting breaths belched from somewhere deep within its core. Bastard! Laughing at us! She had no idea how such a mindless creature could experience emotion, but there could be no doubt the shade was taking joy in their suffering. Yeah, I see your plan. The shade moved its claws slightly, allowing Grandma to breathe again. It was clearly keeping her alive, only to snuff out her life when Kainé was close enough to touch her. I'm gonna kill this bastard! Summoning all her strength, Kainé rose to her feet. There was a sickening snap to her right ankle as the foot twisted backwards, but she forced it from her mind and began to hobble towards the monster. Pulling a small knife from the pouch of her waist, she leapt on the foot that pinned her grandmother and plunged it, weapon deep. Give her back, she screamed. Give her back to me! It was like a stabbing a rock. After a few swipes, the knife broke at the hilt with a dull snap. The shade panted laughter again, and raised its tail and sent it rushing through the air towards the young girl that was latched onto its foot. Kainé never had a chance. The tail struck her square in the chest and sent her crashing to the burning wreckage of the home. As she lay on the ground, with blood pouring from multiple wounds, a small, weak voice spoke up. Kainé? Kainé's vision blurred. She forced herself to focus on the sound. Finally, her eyes cleared enough to make out her grandmother's hands, reaching out to her through the smoke. Grandma? Kainé, you gotta run. You can't best this one. Kainé grabbed the hands that held on with all her strength. Grandma, come on, we have to go. The old woman coughed loudly. One of her hands, slick with blood, slipped from Kainé's grasp and thumped to the ground below. Grandma, no! No! I said run, goddammit! You have to live! You have to get through! The thought would stay forever unfinished. The Before she could say another word, the shade's clawed foot descended, smashing through the remains of the roof and down upon the shattered figure of the old woman. Blood oozed from the gaps in the creature's toes as the terrible, putrid smell assaulted Kainé's nose once again. She stared at the foot, dumbfounded, convinced that what she was seeing could not possibly be real. When the creature finally lifted its appendage, all that remained underneath was a twisted, unrecognizable mass of rubble and red. The grandmother was gone. Kainé blinked, trying to feel the hands which had been hers just a moment before. For a fleeting instant, she could remember the warmth of that embrace, the trembling of the fingers, but then the sensation drifted away on the breeze and was gone. Memories flashed through Kainé's mind, one after the other, faster and faster, until they became a meaningless jangle of noise. Kainé screamed then, a thunderous sound that echoes off the cliffs and seemed to roll away forever. The shade eased forward, black ichor pouring from its mouth and dissolving into smoke on the ground below. The earth shook with every step as it crept towards its prey. Kainé's body slowly rose as if controlled by a mad puppet master. Her arms and legs were bent at impossible angles, her head lolled dangerously to the side, yet somehow she managed to stand. Staring at the shade, her eyes began to glow with a deep red fire. The creature, so confident just moments before, took a slow, hesitant step backwards, trying to discern if this broken human could possibly pose a threat. Kainé seized the moment, laughing like a mad woman. She leapt into the air and plunged the shattered hilt of a knife deep into the leg of the shade. The shade shook Kainé off like a fly, sending her crashing to the earth once again. Her chest rose and fell slowly, as if great weight were resting on it. Moist sounds of pain echoed through her mind. Something warm and thick oozed from her ears. Is that blood? I think it is. I think I'm bleeding to death. No, can't die. Grandma told me to live. Deep inside Kainé's mind, something finally broke. The sound, the pain, the smoke and the flames, all of it faded away until all that remained was a single incantation, repeated over and over again. Kill it. 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 Kill it now! As the spark that was Kainé slowly began to flicker and die, she felt her desire to kill and her desire to live blend into one. The distance between the heartbeats grew longer and longer and longer. Yes, I did count those killets.
The beast approaches. Oh, I know.
Cool. A lot of people stuck through that. That was a lot of reading. And at least some of you may have even heard that before. Well, I'm still this guy.
What anger this creature must have. How did it even survive these past 5 years?
I'm not gonna let this happen again. It dies today.
My sword feels lighter. It's not the blade, but the skill of the user. Strike it down.
I'm going to take this moment to just not talk for a while, because obviously that was kind of exhausting. Switch. The Nameless Blade. I can tell you we're not going to the Forest of Myth anytime soon. Right. Oh, is it? We still in reading? Let's continue reading, shall we? This might be shorter. Who knows? I haven't made myself a cup of tea and made sure I've got more liquid. I think in all that faffing, I managed to lose a lurker though, or two. Anyway, gently, weakly, softly, the shade, sure that its tormentor was dead, turned and stomped off towards the horizon, stopping along the way to bellow one final roar. Couldn't kill it. Shamed beyond imagining, Kainé tried to turn her head to the side, but only succeeded in coughing up a huge gout of blood. It was getting difficult to see, and only after a moment of fierce concentration did she realize that her left eye was gone. Laughing to herself, she turned her remaining eye to the ruins of her home and noticed a ragged stump of an arm resting a few feet away. Yeah, that's mine, she thought with a mad giggle. This is going to make clapping her a real bitch. Ha! Cried a sudden voice from the depths of her mind. Finally gonna die, are ya? We've had it coming. Go to hell, Demo. She thought at the unseen assailant. Go to hell before I pluck out your eyes and feed them to a dog. The voice of a childhood terror evaporated into smoke, only to be replaced by another, more recent voice. Hold still, said the apothecary, materializing from the ruins like a ghost. I want to draw you to where you can live forever. No, stop. Don't want to live forever. Want to die right here. I see, he said quietly. Well, if that's what you want. The spectral shopkeeper fluttered in and out of existence for a moment, then produced a piece of paper and sketched it quietly. After a few seconds, he turned the page to Kainé and smiled. Since you rejected my offer, I decided to draw someone else. It was a picture of her grandmother, real as life. Kainé opened her mouth to thank the man, but stopped as the picture began to blacken in the middle. Before she could say anything, dozens of multi-legged insects began to swarm across the image, tearing at it with sharpened pincers. Stop! No, don't hurt that picture! Kainé reached out with her remaining arm and waved I was going to say fruitlessly, it's futilely, at the air. To her surprise, the insects fell off the picture and to the ground below, where they vanished into a tiny black tendrils of smoke. Little did John know that the entire Root Bee is all writing. It's just writing from start to end. It's a lot of writing there. Relieved, Kainé turned her good eye back to the picture, only to open her mouth in a silent scream. The sketch now showed her grandmother as she truly was, a smashed, unrecognizable lump of nothing. The apothecary smiled and broke into a jolly dance. See that? He cried as he danced his jig. It's perfect now. It looks just like you. Ha cha cha cha. I look like that? God, I'm going to die. I'm gonna die. Drowning in despair, Kainé laid her head back in the mud and smoke of her ruined house and waited for the end to come. Just Before she let everything go, an unfamiliar voice began whispering in her ear. "Ain't you got a wish, sunshine?" The voice was vulgar and fierce at the same time, as if insanity had somehow found a way to take form. Kainé wanted to scream as the voice crawled under her skin, but her lungs refused to work. "You know, a wish, like a prayer or something? Why don't you get on your knees and start praying to heaven? Please, invisible man of the sky, save me! Save me!" Kainé finally resorted to shouting at the voice with her mind. "I don't make wishes. They don't come true for me. I'm a curse. A freak. I should be left to die." The other voice boomed in her ears. "Oh God, you are the best!" Kainé glanced down and saw a black, shiny substance oozing from her legs. She tried to brush it away, but her remaining arm would no longer respond. The substance slowly crept around her feet and began moving up towards the rest of her body. Is this death? Is this what it's like? Or is my mind just losing itself? You could feel the slime oozing upwards. Sorry, I didn't have the music on. Feeling the hot, searing pain left in its wake. Whatever else might be happening, she was still alive, and this was real. "Come on," said the voice. "Let it go." Kainé tried to ignore the voice and concentrate on the pain, but the newcomer would have none of it. "Don't ignore me, sunshine. You're ready to give up, ready to die. So why not let me have it?" "Have what?" "Your body! Come on! Give it to me! Give it to me! I want to stand on the ground, feel the rain, taste the wind." The voice paused as if licking its lips. When it resumed, it was filled with a mad, unabated joy. "And I want to take your hands and use them to choke the goddamn life out of people. I want to tear out their throats and bathe in the blood just like before." In response, Kainé shifted her head and vomited, and the warmth of it crept down her front and mingled with the pain of the encroaching black ooze. "Are you a shade?" "Yeah, maybe. What of it?" Slime reached her face, crept up past her nose, and slowly oozed into the socket of a missing eye. The moment it touched her brain, Kainé was struck by a most powerful sensation she'd ever felt in her life. It was ecstasy. She wanted to scream with delight, but all she could manage was a small whimpered moan. "Feels good, don't it?" asked the voice with a chuckle. "Yeah, what can I say? I know how to please the ladies. Now give me that body. Come on, give me the body, and I'll give you more of this feeling. It's a fair trade." A black lump began to protrude from Kainé's side. As he watched, it grew longer and thicker, eventually taking the form of her missing arm. "I can see better," she thought. "My eye must be growing back too." The slime reached up to envelop the rest of her face, but she managed to brush it away. "Stop," she whispered, marveling at how she could regain her voice. "Stop!" The black ooze hesitated, as if considering the request, then quickly shimmered down her body before disappearing into a cloud of smoke. "Ah, what the hell, sunshine?" screamed the voice. "We had a deal! I thought you wanted to die!" Grandma said, "Can't die yet." A brief image of her grandmother, bloodied and broken, flashed before her eyes. She saw the shade that had killed her and heard its mocking laughter, then closed her eyes and forced the image from her mind. Her whole body was quaking with rage. When she opened her eyes again, they burned bright red. "That thing took my grandmother. I have to kill it before I die." Kainé glanced down and saw a mysterious pattern, the pattern of the shades, burn itself into her left arm. "Well, I'll be damned," said the voice cheerfully. "Look at that, sunshine. I think you and me are gonna be good friends now." Kainé stared intently at her arm. The more emotional she felt, the more the letters seemed ready to puncture her skin and begin infecting the rest of her body. The arm clearly had a will of its own. Stop! Gotta stop! Holding her left arm in her right, Kainé took a deep breath and tried to calm herself. Come on! Don't fight it! Pleaded the voice. Hate's my favourite dish, and I'm hungry. Let it go. Feel the anger burn with the fire of revenge. Thirst for blood. Then go out there and... Shut up and get out of my body. Your body? That's rich, sunshine. Real rich. Look, why don't you just give up and die, so I can have this body all to myself? What do you say? I bet those buddies of yours in the area would love to see you dead. Kainé grabbed a nearby shard of glass, tried to saw off the shade-infected portion of her side. Before she could, a darkened left arm grabbed her right wrist, crushing it. Kainé screamed and dropped the shard as the sound of bone crunching on bone filled the air. Stupid idiot girl, you're possessed now, sunshine, and there ain't no going back. The voice laughed again, a long wail that seemed to go on without end. Possessed, whispered Kainé. Yeah, possessed, you and me. We got what you might call a timeshare arrangement. Remember how folks used to think you were a freak? Well, wait till they get a load of you now. Kainé looked up, tears in her eyes. The sky seemed smaller somehow, darker. Is this because of that shade? Is this how they see the world? So, listen, purred the voice. I know this whole possession thing seems a bit sudden, but it ain't all bad. There's plenty in it for you too. I'm a very powerful creature, sunshine, and now that power belongs to you. You got enemies? People you want to kill? I can make it happen. That little fat kid that kept picking on you, the big old shade that squashed a granny, we're wrapping up in their old asshole. What? We'll wrap them up in their own assholes. No more abuse for you, sunshine. No more pain. Wait, said Kainé. You're a shade. Why would you help me kill another shade? What, you think I'm some kind of racist? Some killing snob? I don't give a good goddamn who you murder honey pants. I just want to drink from the well. Kainé considered this as she struggled to her feet. The power of the shade coursing through her. The smoke from her house was drifting away with the wind, and she enjoyed the way the cool evening breeze felt on her new left arm. After a long pause, the voice spoke up again. So, how about it? You and me, we could have some good times together. Look, I'll even take care of the bloody part if you don't want. Fuck off, asshole, muttered Kainé. I'll handle the killing. Look at you go! Oh, sunshine, we're gonna have so much fun! So listen, my name's Turan, and if you ever need me, I'll just be hanging out in this piece of meat you call a heart. Now get to it! The more you kill, the more your heart turns rotten and sour, and I like rotten and sour. Kainé found herself nodding at the voice. Yeah, she said. Yeah, I think this can work. I'm gonna find that straight... I don't know who's talking right now. I'm gonna find that shade, and I'm gonna strangle it with its own guts. And when I'm done, I'm gonna do the same to you, Turan. Count on it. Ha! I shit bigger than you, so good luck with that. Oh, and hey, one more thing. Right now, you and me are sharing this body, and if you ever run out of hate, if you ever, you know, go soft, then I'm gonna take everything. So keep on killing, sunshine, and watch your back. The voice grew fainter and gradually faded away, fading to something deep inside Kainé herself. Kainé waited until she was sure the voice was gone, and then waved her new left arm around a few times. It feels perfectly normal, she thought. It feels like mine. Also, thank you, Uchi. It's very kind. Desperately She began poking and prodding at the new limb, determined to find something wrong with it. She didn't want to feel normal. This would mean the creature inside her had already won. I'm not a shade. I'm Kainé. Repeating this mantra in her mind, she slowly began chewing as little bubble of a house, being careful to ignore a certain red-stained spot in the corner. Finally, after what seemed like an eternity of heartbreaking work, she found what she was looking for. It was a wreath of lunar tears. Though it had been through hell and back, the garland's petals were as bright as ever. Kainé started to place it in her hair, then slowly lowered the wreath and stared at it. I'm sorry, Grandma. I'm so sorry. But I don't deserve to wear this anymore. I'm possessed, corrupted, a freak. This time, I don't think there's any going back. Holding the flowers to her heart, Kainé fell to the ground and sobbed. As night gradually lightened to dawn and the people of the area rose to their daily lives, she remained in that position, as if tears could somehow wash away the horror that now infected her world.
Alive! Stay alive! Stay alive!
Grandma.
Kainé, you gotta live! You gotta come back to us!
Tehran's fun. I mean, not to Kainé, obviously, but to act.
Oh, hey.
Aww.
Emil, you were the one calling me, weren't you?
You still recognize me?
Of course. I knew you right away.
Thank you, Kainé.
Welcome back.
So that explains her arm.
Wow, you grew up. So, how long has it been?
5 years.
Yes. So obviously the most fun parts to read are bits where you can cut loose. And so, is it Tehran? Is, you know, essentially a license to just be as crazy as possible, right? So that's what makes it fun, because you can just release all the madness you might currently carry. It's nice people that are hard to do. Earnestness and stuff like that. Those are difficult emotions. Angry, mad, evil people. You know, that's just fun. That's why in Star Wars, the most fun character is the Emperor, right? The unlimited power! That's the fun bit.
Any luck with Yona?
We are still no closer to finding her. We need a way to locate the Shadow Lord.
By the way, this is for you.
She's at the center of the camera.
Is that a lunar tear?
It's not as good as your grandmother's, but I tried.
No, it's great. Thank you.
Kainé waking from her long petrified sleep. Emil's unflagging kindness. Our reunion was a happy one, and we let it wash over us like rain. That is, until Devila and Popola had to go and ruin it all.
Oh, goddamn Devil and Popola, how fucking dare you?
Are you kidding me? You can't be serious!
What was I going to say? Damn, I had a thought then that it escaped my mind. Oh yeah, also the game was nice enough to include the word sunshine, which immediately gave it an actual accent rather than me trying to borrow in. I'm playing through Ys, and Ys has like a cast of like 10 people, but it's Ys. Ys's story, like I enjoyed Ys, but Ys isn't like a deep story. It's a fun one, and like there's emotional beats, but like I don't mind going. Oh, I'm not doing a silly voice, but I don't mind reaching for like a silly voice for like a posh accent. But like when you're for this, I didn't want to do an old lady's voice for grandma because that would have been a cartoon. So I just had to play it. Anyway, I'm gonna stop talking about acting, but it's fun. But you don't get nowadays. You don't get a lot of choice because more and more games actually have voice acting.
Please try to understand. People are tired and scared, and I'm sorry. I'm sorry you have to bear the brunt of that.
Are you though?
This is crap, and you know it.
It's okay. We can sleep outside.
I guess the point I was making is, with certain voices, it's more important to do the emotions correctly than to get the accent or the person right.
No one's sleeping outside. You and Kainé saved this village, and now they want to run you out?
People are afraid of us. And really, I understand. I mean, look at me. As long as you're still with us, I can deal with it. Right, Kainé?
I'm used to sleeping outside.
But...
We'll see you later.
Sorry about this.
Right. I have absolutely no idea how I'm going to cut up these episodes, but I might as well continue now because
What is the matter?
I've earned myself a playthrough.
Kainé always sleeps outside.
Oh no!
I never thought about that.
I thought we'd get to play as Kainé.
Never even occurred to me. Damn it.
We should turn in.
We should save.
I didn't get much sleep that night.
Yes.
For the first time in my life, I hated Devil.
I've got my YouTube channel is called The Proximity.
For the first time in my life, I doubted Popola.
I think there's a clickable link in
But those feelings are pointless in the end.
below.
They said and did what they did for the sake of the village.
Did they though?
To protect it from the horror of the Shades.
Did they though?
Really, how can I blame Devila and Popola? In the end, I'm just as bad. Because I never once stopped to think about Kainé and Emil's situation myself.
What was I going to say? So what I know, obviously I know Automata, where playthrough 1 and 2 are basically exactly the same apart from the new scenes. I sort of figured it'd be like that, but it clearly starts later. But obviously it's just filled in her backstory. But I figured it'd be immediately a different
I
person.
should apologize to Kainé and Emil. But what good would that even do?
I got a fire going, Kainé.
Wait, is that...
Oh, this is new, isn't it?
Weird, aren't they? I feel like I could... I'm so happy to get to talk to you again, Kainé.
Yeah, me too.
I tried everything I could think of to save you, you know. I polished you with a special cloth. I poured warm water over you.
Oh, he looked after the stone.
Wait, you poured water on me?
Yeah, but it didn't really do much except make you all shiny.
Yeah, I mean, because you know, polishing it would be just sanding it down. That would be a terrible idea.
Hey, Emil. Thanks for saving me.
I guess you noticed how I look different now.
I'm sorry, Emil. I'm sorry for all of it.
Well, I mean, this new form isn't all bad, you know?
You can float now.
At least I can look at you when we talk, right? Hey, so why don't you tell me something about yourself?
I'm not very interesting. Sorry.
Come on, I just want to know you better. Please?
Fine. This all happened when I was a kid. Before the whole shade possession thing. My body is different. And when the villagers found out about it, they started treating me like a freak. But one person, my grandmother, accepted me just as I was.
Well, that's the quick version, but I think you'll find there's a 40-minute version which involves John reading.
No matter how bad things got, she gave me the strength to keep going.
She's really special to you, huh?
Yeah.
Oh, hey! That gives me an idea. Since we cured your petrification, we should start looking for a way to cure your possession in my body. I know we can do it if we all work together. Heck, it'll probably be super easy.
Let me guess. More warm water?
Okay, can we just forget I told you about that?
Yeah, it does actually. Flower wasn't in any. Oh no, I know that one. If I continue playing, I'm gonna have to continue playing.
Sleep well?
But that'll be like an 8-hour stream I just did.
Sure.
And yet your red eyes tell a different tale. Don't be so hard on yourself, lad.
I need to go see Devila and Popola.
Very well.
Gold. Yeah, I didn't realize I'd still be this dude.
What might that be?
It's Mom's diary.
I've not heard you speak much about your mother.
She got the Black Scrawl and died when I was little.
My apologies for bringing it up.
It's all right. I can barely remember her face anymore. This is the only thing I have left of her. Reading it helps remind me of when we were still a family.
I see.
But the final entries get a little strange.
Does it say itchy tasty and start talking about eating dog food and murdering your friend?
In what way?
Well, he wasn't friends, he was an asshole, but still.
Well, here. Take a look.
What?
Say there. Can you not hear me?
We need a bigger... For a bigger gentleman, we're gonna need a bigger sword.
Why are you standing about like a slack-jawed ninny?
Okay, I'm not gonna...
Sorry. Felt like I was dreaming or something.
Oh, is this the
Sleeping
original
on one's
voice?
feet is quite the talent indeed. Come now, there's the door.
Right. Let's go.
Right, I'm not gonna do too much of this, because I didn't realise this was Papaneer. But I'll give it a go. I'm not gonna... Oh yeah, DMT Nier. But I'm not gonna do an exploding and do all of these right now. But, obviously, you know, I accidentally clicked on it. I gotta check it out. I gotta check it out, right? Well, this is the world of recycled vessel, fitted to avoid the destruction of all. We're going down. Bad bats. Well, I'm not sure the bats even did anything bad to me. You know what? I just didn't expect that to work. This is what I'm supposed to be doing? The axe suits him. Got some medicinal herb, lovely. I should have known, because like I watched Explodey do this. The Black Scroll, a lost destiny, a white book, a false truth. Yeah, but it would be, yeah, that is an interesting design to the left of your screen. I'm not sure. So these colours are presumably done by a shader. Do I know a bit about shaders? I remember I can... Is Papa Nier faster with the axe? Because I swear, Little Nier is slower than this. Oh shit, I wasn't paying attention. What happens when I die? Does it shunt me out? That's fine. I reckon I can do that, but I'm not going to concentrate on it right now. It was fun seeing Papa Nier, but we'll do that later. We've got...
My word.
Something wrong?
I feel as if I've just awoken from a most unpleasant dream.
I know what you mean. That happens to me whenever I read it.
Oh, I see. Oh, I see. You can see a really interesting design to the left of your screen. You can see it really well in the dark scenes. Okay, fair enough. Huh. Huh. It's probably brighter from... I'll have to look then. Okay, so that's Papa Nier button. That exists. Think I'm waiting for these to die? Spread their seeds. Why am I carrying an axe? Oh, it might be from where my green screen is failing. Ah, fair enough. Yeah, that's my fault for not having the lights set up properly. I got a bit lazy. There should be a light there and a light there, and I've not done them both. Am I missing any quests?
Oh man, I'm in a heap of
What's the... Okay, yeah.
Okay, that is the
All
same
the mo-
quest.
This won't be our...
Thanks. I need one memory.
Wow.
That is a lot. Right. I'm going to disappear for 40 seconds.
Just the person.
What's up?
Our water wheel is on.
This script. All right.
Thank you.
I don't have to do this or not. Yeah, I'll be, hang on, she's over there, isn't she? What am I doing?
Man.
You can pick up... Does she have... Yeah. I'll be fine. Right, let's talk.
Hey.
Oh, hi. I kinda thought you'd never talk to us again.
I understand you're doing this for the village, and that you don't have a choice.
Pretty much, yeah. But look, why don't you go talk to Popola? I think she wanted to discuss the Shadow Lord with you.
I'm headed there next. Oh, and Devila?
Yeah?
Sorry about yesterday. I shouldn't have lost my temper like that.
You don't need to let Emil and Kainé know that.
All right.
Okay. Yeah, for some reason I figured you'd immediately be Kainé at this point. It makes a lot more sense now. People saying, oh yeah, items come over to Route B because Route B is still this dude doing the same thing. Makes sense, but I'm just not used to it. I'm considering calling it, mainly because I've been recording for streaming for 6 hours. It's quite a long time. That reading must have taken me fucking ages. But also I did complete the entire route, so. Oh, the
What is the purpose of this place?
Beats me.
These either. So yeah, I'm gonna see how I feel in let's say 15 minutes, 20 minutes, because and then I'll either do 2 hours more or take a break.
Popola?
Oh, hello.
Look, I want to apologize for
Stop. You didn't do anything wrong.
Yeah, but neither did you. You're just trying to protect the villagers. And I jumped down your throat for it.
It's very kind of you to say so. Regardless, please don't let it trouble you.
Ahem. I believe there was something you wished to discuss with us.
Oh, right. Yes, about that. You know about the lost shrine, right?
The temple where I was first discovered.
That's it. Well, it seems that the Shadow Lord's lair is connected to it somehow.
Oh ho. It was right under our pages the whole time.
But the bridge that leads there is unusable.
So, take a boat.
A boat?
Yes. It took a lot longer than expected. What with the shades and all. I also asked them to provide a boat at the path to the Lost Shrine's back entrance.
I'm just trying to figure out whether dude is dead yet or not.
The ferryman will let you use it free of charge. That should make it easier for you to move from town to town.
Thanks, Popola. I feel like you've done so much for me. I'm really grateful. All right, I'll see you around.
And for the love of everything, be careful.
Last time you told me to be careful, I murdered you.
And for the love of...
And your sister. Off just wouldn't quit today. I bet Urgo would have rubbed my back if he was here.
The path above the entrance to the shopping district should...
Okay.
How excellent to know the canal is finished. Hopefully this puts our days of running all over behind us.
The faster we can move, the faster we can save Yona. Let's use it as often as we need.
Okay. I'm just considering how Run B will work. But obviously, Red Bad Guy has a quest for me.
Hey!
That red bag.
Hey,
Sure has.
has. I've been in charge of this canal since we last talked. Apparently I did a pretty good job with it because they just...
Oh, yeah?
Thanks. Anyway. Oh there!
Give me a quest. Unless I already have it. Okay, I still have that. Come on, I still have the Fisherman's Gambit. 16. 69% of the quest completed. Nice.
Oh there!
Okay, let's check out. See if I'm just going to quickly investigate areas. Sunday.
Those shades are wreaking havoc.
It's you.
Yeah.
Oh, no need.
I'm with...
I need you to retrieve this cargo as like...
That was
Sure.
one that was never finished.
Now,
I was shipping.
hey, it's your money.
Did you see that huge ship? I want to explore it.
Nah, it's a bad idea to explore the ship.
Did you see that huge ship? I want to explore it.
People die when they explore that ship. Fishing tip 5 tutorial. I finished you. Right. Just running around the world. Alright. Farewell, sort of. Horizon. Hang on. He's still on the quest.
Best of luck.
Does that? I'm thinking about how the game ended. Yeah, I think I am going to leave it because I'm clearly not. I'm a little bit worn out from all the reading.
Hey, this is one of the pieces of cargo that what?
I could have looked up what was inside in the last run and I didn't. I mean, I could look at it now and just not save.
She doesn't want us look.
A wise choice. Rifling through the possessions of others is a vulgar habit.
Basically, for fairly obvious reasons, I might not strictly in the mood to just repeat content right now, and I appreciate that it's like the gimmick of the game. I thought it'd be further, it would start further back than this for some reason. Also, I just figured you'd be a different person, but I'm assuming that's a different route. So yeah. I think I've earned myself a little break from the game. Where does... Oh, there's the boat. No! No! I'm just gonna see what...
Everything in working order?
Yeah, Vice. I'm good.
What I want to do
Your
first.
health is diminished. Do be more careful next time.
Then we'll approach from the correct side this time.
Oh there!
Oh there! is it? Urgo made a new friend, and guess what? He's a king! I wish I had some friends. Ooh, you know what? Yeah, it's quite important I do one of the side quests before I do any plot.
Which job should I give you first?
Life on the Sands.
A facade resident is looking for help. It's about flowers or some. Come back when. Which job should I give you first? Want to help out the village blacksmith? I wrote down the client's location.
After the kids, I'm worried.
Thanks.
Right, so yeah, I'm gonna have to pick up all the quests. Let me jump around this corner. No, that's clearly a jumpable corner. Yeah, I think I might be completely out of energy.
I must say, I'm rather surprised you didn't bother to learn how to swim these past 5 years.
I can swim. My weapon is just heavy.
Whatever you say, lad.
Hey, you. Yeah, Uncle. That's why.
Sure thing. I guess I should know.
One could hardly expect.
Old.
Oh.
Which job should I give you first? Got a job from Seafront if you aren't too busy. It's a guy. I wrote down the.
Right, if I'll do that straight away, I guess. And we'll save, and who knows if I'll do what I'm gonna do. There's at least one side quest I'd really like to get done before moving the plot on, but I don't know how to get it. Maybe he's got it now. It's from this dude here.
Oh there!
Oh there! He dies, so I need to get it done before he's dead. And who knows when that actually officially triggers. I'm going to pick this up and then I'm going to save. Also, yeah, because cutting up a 6-hour video is quite risky already. 8-hour video, I did like... It only takes one error for me to have completely lost that video, so...
Hey, you used to be.
As I remember.
Oh, well, the light youth. I'm
Yeah,
sure
he wants a lot of stuff, basically.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you. While you're at it, 10. We'll need.
Yeah. I probably am fine to do the first set of Lost Shrine stuff. It's just immediately after that where it gets risky. But I want to be careful, so let's save my game. So I've been jump proxying. I've been having thank you, lurkers and archaeologists from the future. I've been having a Nier Replicant version 1.22474487139. So on adventure. I've got an ending. I've got ending A. I think I'm on route B now. That makes sense. I don't know if I should do any research before I continue, but we'll see. But I've been streaming for 6 hours, so I'm going to take a break. A lot of that was just a lot of reading. And I like it. It was a good read, but it is draining. I'm going to let you go. So yeah. Thank you for watching. And I don't know what else to say. I guess I should just disappear. What I'm doing is I'm stalling for the right moment, which should become pretty obvious in just a second.